are static programming languages. Why? Because in C and C++, memory will be allocated for the primitive data types at a compilation time only, not at runtime. You may ask one question here. Sir, in the case of C and C++, MLAC, CLAC functions are available. They are providing memory for the data at runtime. But you are saying in C and C++, memory is allocated at compilation time. So both are different statements. How can you justify for this particular point? You may ask this question to me. I'll give clear-cut answer to you. Now try to understand it. MLAC and CLAC functionalities are providing memory for the data at runtime, no doubt for that. But where, for what? That is not for primitive data. That is not for what? No, primitive data. That is not by default memory allocation. That is explicit our requirement to allocate memory. As per our requirement, we are saying request to the C engine to allocate some block of memory. That is our explicit requirement. That is not fundamental memory allocation. That will not come under default memory allocation. I'm telling to you clearly, if the memory allocation is going on by default, or default memory allocation is going on at compilation time, then only that programming language is what? Static programming language. If the default memory allocation is going on at runtime, then that programming language is what? Dynamic programming language. Say for example, if I write int I is equal to 10, for example, I have written where integer, for that default memory allocation must be required. At what time memory will be allocated in the case of C and C++? Compilation time only memory will be allocated in the case of C and C++. For example, in Java, if I provide int I is equal to 10, at what time memory will be allocated in the case of Java? At runtime for this integer variable. So this is dynamic memory allocation. So Java is what? No, dynamic programming language. So finally, C and C++ are what? Static programming languages. Java is what? A dynamic programming language. Why? Because in C and C++, memory will be allocated for the primitive data types at a compilation time. In the case of Java, memory will be allocated for the primitive data types at a runtime. Yes, my points are clear or not? Small. Can I go for the small note on this particular point here, so that we'll finish this particular part, then we'll move on to the next content here anyway. Right, sir. Now, okay, the point is what? C and C++ are static programming languages. Why? Because in C and C++ applications, okay. In C and C++ applications, in C and C++ applications, memory will be allocated for primitive data types at a compilation time. That's okay, fine. Similarly, Java is a dynamic programming language. Why? Because in Java applications, memory will be allocated for the primitive data types at runtime. That one is sufficient. No need to think too much about this particular one here. The ground information already covered previously, that we already understood that. So yesterday I shown clearly what is compilation and what is the requirement of the compilation. Then what is the meaning of execution? That point I have given in the last class. Okay, we understood that. Right, sir. C and C++ are static programming languages. Why? Because in C and C++ applications, memory will be allocated for primitive data types at compilation time. Java is a dynamic programming language. Why? Because in Java applications, memory will be allocated for the primitive data types at runtime. That's okay, at runtime. So more than this not required at present. When we are moving towards Java, when we are discussing about object orientation in Java, you will get more clarity on this particular point. But as of now, blindly we can understand static programming language or dynamic programming language is totally depending on the time when memory allocation is going on. If it is at compilation time, static programming language. If it is like what? No, runtime, then it is a dynamic programming language. Yes, sir. Got it or not? One small extension point, try to understand it clearly. Small extension point, try to understand it clearly. In Java, memory will be allocated for the primitive data types at runtime. That we understood. There I want to give one small punch. Listen carefully. In Java, memory will be allocated for the primitive data types when we create object. In Java, memory will be allocated for the data at what time? At the time of creating object. Object is a memory block where data will be stored. In Java, everything is going on with object only. When we create object, then only memory will be allocated for the primitive data. Remember this punch. In Java, when objects are going to be created, in Java, objects are going to be created at runtime only. In Java, objects will be created at what time? Runtime only. There is a simple extension part. Understand my point here. Blindly I said to you, in Java, memory will be allocated for primitive data types. At runtime I said to you. But where the clarity is what? In Java, memory will be assigned for the primitive data at the time of creating objects. But when objects are going to be created at runtime. Because of this reason, memory will be allocated for primitive data types at runtime in the case of Java. So Java is what? A dynamic programming language. Sir, got it or not? Java is what? A dynamic programming language. Fine. Right, sir. This point is okay, clear. Not required to go for much discussion about this point here. At this moment, this point is sufficient here. We can observe this clearly. Now I want to go for the second point. Very, very important point. Everybody has to put more concentration here. The second point is what? Preprocessor is required in C and C++. Preprocessor is required in C and C++, but preprocessor is not required in Java. Preprocessor is required in C and C++, but preprocessor is not required in Java. Preprocessor is required in C and C++, but preprocessor is not required in Java. Okay. Right, sir. All of you, please. Just next 5 to 10 minutes of time, don't write anything, just look at my face. I said to you already, if you are not interested in my face, better to see that screen. Of course, my face is beautiful. Your face will also be beautiful, but concentrate on our class. Next 5 to 10 minutes of time. Content is very, very important. In general, in all my batches, people are not going to understand this content in first attempt. But I want to check you whether you are going to understand my concept in first attempt or not about this particular point. Yes, sir. Shall we go for it? All of you ready for this? In all my remaining batches, people are not understanding this concept in the first time. But I want to check you whether you are good or not to understand about this particular point at first time. Ready for this? No response, guys. Still, people are seriously look at my face now. That's very nice. All right. What is the point I said to you? Preprocessor is required in C and C++, but a preprocessor is not required in Java. Good. Before understanding preprocessor is required or not required in C, C++, Java, first we'll understand what is preprocessor, where is preprocessor, and what is the job of the preprocessor in applications. That we have to understand. Then after that, we will decide whether preprocessor is required or not required in C, C++, Java. What is preprocessor, where that preprocessor is existed, and what is its requirement. That point here we have to understand. Okay, fine. Put more concentration. I want to give one simple diagram. Through that, I will explain the location of the preprocessor first. Then after that, I will explain the purpose of the preprocessor. Guys, all of you now tell me, I want to take a C program. If you want to take a C program, now tell me, what should be the file extension here? What should be the file extension of file name .c. This is a C file. If it is a Java file, then the extension should be .java. If it is CPP, the extension should be .cpp. Okay, fine. Tell me, guys, whenever we have written this program, C program, then immediately what we have to do? We have to compile this program or not? Come on, guys, we have to compile this program or not? For what purpose we have to compile the program? Now tell me. For what purpose we have to compile the program? Now tell me. To translate a program from high level representation to low level representation, and to check the errors which are committed by the developers. To check the mistakes which are committed by the developers, we have to perform what? Compilation. So now compilation process here we are doing. That's okay, nice. When we compile our C program, then what files here we are able to get, guys? Now tell me, what file here we are able to get? In the case of C, it's a bit confusion. In the case of C, it's a bit confusion. What is that confusion actually? It may be .obj file. It may be .exe file. It may be .as file. Like this, n number of files are going to be generated. But finally, we require only one type of file. That is what? No, .exe file. What file here we are getting there? .exe file. Whenever we are getting the .exe file, then what we have to do with the .exe file? There we have to execute the program or not? There we have to execute the program or not? So then we have to go for like what? No, execution process. There we have to understand like what? No, execution. Now tell me, guys, who will perform this execution? C engine. Who will perform this execution? C engine. C engine is performing that execution process. Nice. When this execution process is completed, then what we are able to get now? Some outputs here we are getting clearly. Some outputs here we are able to get. That's okay. Now this is like what? No, output. So this is overall execution, compilation and execution process of a particular C program. I think everybody is getting clarity up to now. Nothing is difficult up to this point. Am I right? Right. Now, all of you guys, observe carefully. Come for this compilation. What is there inside the compilation? How many phases are available inside the compilation? How many missions are performing this compilation? If you come for these points, answer is very clear. Up to now, you might be thought only compiler is performing compilation. Up to now, we thought only compiler is performing compilation, but it is not true. Nearly 4 missions are involved in the compilation process. How many missions are involved in the compilation process? No, 4 missions are involved in the compilation process. What are these 4 missions actually? First one is preprocessor. First one is what? Preprocessor. The next one is like what? No, compiler. Next one is compiler. Then after that, next one is like what? No, assembler. What next one? Assembler. Then after that, next one is loader, link editor. It seems it's 2 missions, but it is a single mission only. Okay, in a single mission, 2 parts are available: loading and linking. That means, sorry, loading and linking. That's okay, fine. Overall, how many phases are available in the compilation? Actually, 4 phases are existed. Nothing. Speaker, I think so. Speaker problem. Keep aside. First, switch off it. Switch off it. Keep that in chair. Switch on it. Hello. No problem. My products are very strong. Right, sir. Right. So previously might be we have some statement in outside. With music, even we can move rocks also, right? But with Java, we can give movements on speakers also. Right, sir. Let's come for the content. So how many missions are involved in a compilation part there? Overall, 4 missions are involved. What are the 4 missions here? Preprocessor, compiler, assembler, link editor. That's okay, nice. Now let me go for this now. By this, we have our required information, sir. What is the location of the preprocessor? That is my question actually. Already we have answer for it. What is the location of the preprocessor now? Is a part of the compilation or not? Part of the compilation or not? Part of the compilation, the first phase. First phase of the compilation is what now? Pre-processing or preprocessor. Okay, anyway, my required answer is coming, but anyway, discussion is available. That's why I want to elaborate this compiler also. In the future, I require this compiler, internals of compiler. So I want to talk about this compiler internals here itself. Why? Because in the future, I may require this. So here I have to go for like what? No, compiler. Inside this compiler again, how many phases are available? 6 number of phases are available inside the compiler again. How many phases are available here? 6 number of phases. What are the 6 number of phases here? First one is lexical analysis phase. Remember this I will use future. In future, this I will use more. So what is this first one actually? Lexical analysis phase. Clear or not? Lexical analysis phase. Okay, fine. Next one is syntax analysis phase. Syntax analysis phase. And the next one is semantic analysis phase. Semantic analysis phase. Next one is intermediate code generation. Intermediate code generation. Next one is code optimization. The last one is code generation. Last one is what? Code generation. Observe carefully. All right, sir. Overall, how many phases are available inside the compiler? 6 phases are available. What are the 6 phases now? Tell me. Lexical analysis, syntax analysis, semantic analysis, intermediate code generation, code optimization, and what next one? Code generation. These many phases are existed. That's okay, good. One after another, these phases are going to be implemented. Okay, fine. Now come for our content, guys. Then my required point is what? What exactly the location of the preprocessor? Location of the preprocessor is what? Part of the compilation. The first phase inside the compilation is what? Preprocessor. Just location we understood. Next one is what exactly the purpose of this preprocessor in compilation? What is the role of the preprocessor in compilation that we have to understand? What is the role of the preprocessor in compilation that we have to understand? Yes, sir. Clear or not? Just wait 2 minutes of time. Now I'll give much clarity. I'm going to talk about some points. Now try to understand it clearly. Listen, guys. All of you understand it clearly. In C and C++, understand it clearly. In C and C++, first of all, tell me, in every programming language, in all the programming language, some predefined libraries existed. Am I right or not? In every programming language, some predefined library must be provided. The respective programming language has to provide some predefined library. Developers may use that predefined library while preparing applications. Am I right or not? Okay, right. Now, here the point is what? In a C and C++, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of header files. Which files are header files? In a C and C++, the total predefined library was provided in the form of what? No, header files. Can you tell me some header files examples? Some examples for these header files, can you tell me? All right, sir. Now tell me some examples for these header files, no? First one is like what? No, stdio.h. Next one is what? After this, conio.h. You know already all these header files. Next one is what? math.h. Am I right or not? And so on and so on and so on. So many header files are available. Okay, good. Number of header files are existed. That's okay, fine. All of you observe carefully. These header files are available in a C predefined library inside the C software. But how to use them in my C program? How it is possible for me use this predefined library in my C program? Here the point is to use a predefined library in a C and C++ applications. To use predefined library in C and C++ applications, what we have to use there? We have to include these header files. We have to include these header files in what? We have to include these header files in the present present file. We have to include these header files into the present program, present file. File or program, both are same in this context, or maybe present program. How we are able to include these header files to the present program? Just by using hash include statements. Come on, guys. By using what? Hash include statements. So here, what we have to use there? Hash include stdio.h. Then what next one can now tell me? Hash include conio.h. Then what next one here? Hash include math.h. That's okay, fine. All of you observe carefully what I discussed up to now. What I discussed up to now. The point is, in C and C++, the total predefined library was provided in a form of header files. What are the examples for header files? No, stdio.h, conio.h, math.h and all. That's okay. Next one. If you want to use this predefined library in our program, we have to include these header files to the C program. How we are going to include these header files to the C program? Actually, by using which statements? No, hash include statements. By using what? Hash include statements. Sir, clear or not? That's okay, fine. Listen carefully. I have written a C program. I have written a C program. Inside the C program, I have included these hash include statements. In my C program, I wrote these hash include statements. Clear? Now I'm compiling my C program. Now I'm trying to compile my C program. Now tell me, whenever we are compiling C program, which phase will be active immediately? In a compilation, what is the first phase there? Preprocessor. Then immediately preprocessor will be active or not? Then preprocessor will start its work or not? What preprocessor will do in the C program now? Listen carefully. I already said to you, I have a C program. Inside my C program, I have written hash include statements. When I compile my C program, immediately preprocessor will open that C file. Preprocessor will come to the hash include statements. Preprocessor will take all the header files names, what we have written, stdio.h, what we have written. Preprocessor will read all the header files names. After that, preprocessor will go to C software that we already installed in our computer. Preprocessor will go to the C software. Preprocessor will go to the predefined library inside the C software. Preprocessor will search for these header files inside the predefined library, which is available inside the C software. Come on, what I said you have to know. When we compile C program, what is the job of the preprocessor? Preprocessor will recognize all the hash include statements. Preprocessor will read all the header files names. Preprocessor will go to C software. Inside the C software, preprocessor will go to the predefined library. Inside the predefined library, preprocessor will check all these header files. If all these header files are existed inside the C software, no problem. If all these header files are not existed, or any one header file is not existed inside the predefined library, immediately preprocessor will give an error message to the user. You specified some header file name here, but it was not existed inside the C software. What I have to do? I'm trying to search for the respective header file in the C software. It is not existed. So what I have to do for that? If it is available, then I can do some work. If it is not available, what work I have to do? That preprocessor will give a message to the user. For example, all these header files are existed inside the C software. All the header files are existed inside the C software. Observe carefully. All these header files are existed. For example, stdio.h. 1 minute. Sir. All the header files are existed inside the C software. Then what preprocessor will do? No, listen carefully. Preprocessor will take all the header files from the C software. Preprocessor will load all these header files content to the memory. If these header files are existed inside the C software, preprocessor will load all these header files content to the memory. Now tell me, this overall process done by preprocessor, that preprocessor is doing this work at what time? At a compilation time or at runtime? Preprocessor is working under compilation or not? So preprocessor is loading the total header file content to the memory at compilation time or not? Loading predefined library to the memory at compilation time. Loading predefined library to the memory at compilation time. is called as a static loading. Loading predefined library to the memory at compilation time is called as what? Static memory. Is called as what? Static memory. Static loading, not memory. Static loading. Got it or not? Now tell me, preprocessor is following static loading or dynamic loading? Static loading. As a component of the compilation, definitely it has to perform what? That means static loading only it has to follow. Am I right or not? By understanding this overall scenario, tell me the conclusion, guys. What is the job of the preprocessor? What is the job of the preprocessor? The job of the preprocessor is to recognize all hash include statements and loading the provided header files content to the memory or not. Come on, guys, you have to respond for my questions now. What is the job of the preprocessor here? The job of the preprocessor is to recognize all the hash include statements and to load all the specified header files content to the memory or not. So this is the job of what now? Preprocessor. Clear or not? No response, guys. Exactly. The job of the preprocessor is like that. Okay, fine. Leave this point here. Why preprocessor is required in C and C++? Up to now, we understood the location of the preprocessor and the job of the preprocessor. These 2 points we understood. Now the point is what? Why preprocessor is required in the case of C and C++? Why it is not required in the case of Java? That is my question. Why it is required in C and C++ and why it is not required in Java? That is my question. I'll give answer. Try to understand it now. In C and C++, preprocessor is required to recognize and to load header files content to the memory. Why? Because in C and C++, the total predefined library was provided in the form of what? Header files only. To load these header files content to the memory, what we require there? Preprocessor is required in the case of C and C++. Got it or not? But in the case of Java, preprocessor is not required. In the case of Java, preprocessor is not required. Why preprocessor is not required in the case of Java? That's my question, guys. Why preprocessor is not required in the case of Java? Just 1 minute of time. Try to understand all of you guys. I'll give some dictation also. Don't worry for that. But let us understand this clearly. Now tell me, in Java, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of packages. In the case of Java, the total predefined library was provided in the form of what? Packages. In the form of packages. Observe carefully. Tell me some examples for these packages. Actually, we have a number of examples there. Java.io is a package. For example, even if you're not understanding about the Java.io, no need to think about it. It's a package, for example. What is package? No. Package is a collection of classes and interfaces. That's it. Java is a programming language. We are going to write programs with a class and interface only. So collection of classes and interfaces is called as what? A package. Okay, fine. Package. It's a predefined library. Next one is what? Java.util package. Next one is what? Java.sql package. Tell me, guys. In C and C++, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of header files. Yesterday.h, conhere.h, math.h, and so on. Similarly, in the case of Java, the total predefined library was provided in the form of what? Packages. Examples for these packages are what? Java.io, Java.util, Java.sql. Clear or not? Now, observe carefully. I want to use these packages in my Java program. In the case of C and C++, if we want to use a header files in our C program, there we have to include that header files to the C program or not. To include a header files to the C program, we have used a hash include statement or not. Similarly, in the case of Java, if you want to use predefined library in Java applications, we have to include these packages to the Java program. Understand my point here? What is the point I'm telling to you here clearly? To use predefined library in Java applications, we have to include packages in Java application. To include packages in Java application, we are going to use a separate statement. That statement is what? Import statement. To use packages in Java program, which statement here we have to use there? Import statement here we have to use. Now, what is that import statement actually? Observe carefully. That import statement is what? Import java.io.star. Then what next one here? Import java.util.star. Then after that, another thing is what? Import java.sql.star. Sorry here. Now tell me, what is this star actually? Star represents all classes and interfaces from java.io package. In a package, more number of classes and interfaces are available. In a package, more and more number of classes and interfaces are available. Got my point or not? In a single package, hundreds of classes and hundreds of interfaces are available. But when I write java.io.star, import java.io.star, all classes and interfaces of java.io package, I want to get into the present Java program. All classes from java.io, all classes and interfaces from java.util, all classes and interfaces from java.sql package I want to use. So here star meaning is what? Star is nothing but what? All. It represents what? All. Getting clarity up to now? No response, guys. All right. Understand this point clearly? Again, internal topic, put more concentration. I have written a Java program. Inside my Java program, I have written these import statements. In my Java file, I have written these import statements. Then I compiled my Java program. When I compiled my Java program, compiler, not a preprocessor. Think of it, preprocessor is not existed. Clear? Compiler. What compiler? No, Java compiler will recognize all these import statements. Compiler will take all these package names. Compiler will go to the Java software. Compiler will search for these packages inside the Java software. If these packages are not existed, inside the Java software, compiler will raise an error. If these packages are existed inside the Java software, compiler will not raise any error. At the same time, compiler will not load any predefined library to the memory. In case of C and C++, when a preprocessor identifies header files in C software, immediately preprocessor is loading that header files content to the memory or not. But in the case of Java, what happened there? Compiler will check whether these packages are existed or not existed in Java software. If these packages are not existed, raise an error. If these packages are existed, compiler will not raise any error. At the same time, compiler will not load any package content to the memory. In Java, compiler responsibility is to check whether the specified packages are existed or not existed. That's it. Compiler is not responsible for loading any library to the memory. But in the case of C and C++, preprocessor is responsible for loading predefined library to the memory or not. But in the case of Java, compiler is not responsible for loading predefined library to the memory. Sir, are you following my point or not? Now tell me, in Java, who is responsible to load predefined library to the memory? In Java, who is responsible to load predefined library to the memory? Just now I said to you, compiler is just checking whether predefined libraries are existed or not existed. Packages are available or not available in Java software. That's it. Not loaded by compiler. Okay, if compiler is not loading predefined library to the memory, who will take the responsibility of loading predefined library to the memory? In the sense, after compilation, when we execute the program, JVM will take the responsibility of loading predefined library to the memory. Who is that JVM actually? Java Virtual Machine, who is the executor of the Java programs. Am I right or not? When we run Java program, when we execute Java program, JVM is responsible to load all the predefined library to the memory. Now JVM is loading predefined library to the memory in the sense that is going to be happen at runtime or at compilation time. JVM is coming into the picture at runtime only, not at compilation time. Compiler will come into the picture at compilation time. JVM will come into the picture at runtime. So now tell me, in the case of Java, predefined library loaded to the memory by JVM at what time, Kerno? Runtime, at runtime. So loading predefined library at runtime, is called as dynamic loading. Is called as what? Dynamic loading. Now tell me guys, C and C++ are following which type of loading? Static loading. Java is following which type of loading? Dynamic loading. Please remember this. Preprocessor is supporting which type of loading? Static loading. JVM is supporting which type of loading? Dynamic loading. Got my point or not? Right, sir. Now one more point I am telling to you, understand this point clearly. Hash include statements are following static loading. Import statements are following dynamic loading. All the points are clear or not? Now coming to the conclusion in Java. All of you understand this clearly. In Java, preprocessor is not required. Understand it or not? Why preprocessor is not required in Java? In Java, hash include statements are not existed. Why hash include statements are not existed in Java? In Java, predefined library is not provided in the form of header files. Okay, predefined library is not available in the form of header files. So header files are not available in Java. So hash include statements are not existed in Java. So it is not required to maintain preprocessor in Java. Okay, predefined library is not available in the form of header files in Java. But how the predefined library is available in Java? The predefined library is available in the form of Java in the form of what? Packages. To recognize packages, what we require? Compile and JVM is required. Who will load that predefined library to the memory in Java? JVM will load that predefined library to the memory in Java. So whatever the work which is done by preprocessor in the case of C and C++, that work could be done by compiler and JVM in the case of Java. So not required what? Preprocessor is not required in the case of what? Java. Sir, all of you are following or not? A single set I am discussing all the points, but I am checking. I want to check whether you understood it or not. So let me ask some questions to you. Can I ask some questions to you? Tell me guys. In the case of C and C++, who is taking the responsibility to load predefined library to the memory? Preprocessor. In the case of Java, JVM. JVM is taking the responsibility of loading predefined library. Now tell me, C and C++ are having which type of loading? Static loading. Java is having which type of loading? Dynamic loading. In C and C++, hash include statements are following which type of loading? Hash include statements are following which type of loading? Static loading. Import statements in Java are following which type of loading? Dynamic loading. In the case of C and C++, predefined libraries existed in the form of which files? Header files. In the case of Java, predefined libraries available in the form of what? Packages. What is package? Collection of classes and interfaces. Right? If you understand these points, the concept is very much clear now. All right, sir. Now I want to give one more point. Try to observe this clearly. All of you guys, observe carefully what I am telling to you. Here, this is a diagram. I have given this diagram with respect to. C and C++. Am I right or not? With respect to C and C++ only, I given this diagram. Am I right or not? Right, sir. See this one. I want to convert the same diagram into Java. Guys, observe this clearly. If you want to convert this diagram into Java, what changes we require, sir? First of all, I have to change that extension or not? What is this extension? Actually, here we provided .c we provided, but in place of the .c, what we have to provide there? .java we have to provide. .java here we have to provide. That's okay, fine. Next one, after that. All right, sir. Next one. When we compile Java file, Here we are able to get one type of files. In the case of C and C++, .exe files here we are getting. But in the case of Java, one type of file here we are getting. What is the type of the file now? .class file here we are getting. What these files are? .class file. .class file here we are getting. Yes, sir, got it or not? .class file. Right. Next one is, one more difference here I'm telling to you. In the case of C and C++, before compilation .c file or CPP file. After compilation, so many files will be generated. .obj maybe, .asl maybe, .exe might be, number of files will be generated. It's a bit confusion. But in the case of Java, no confusion. In the case of Java, no confusion. Why? Because only two files are going to be available. Only two files are going to be existed in Java. What are the two files? First one is .java. Second one is what now? .class. Before compilation .java. After compilation .class file. Yes, sir. All of you are getting it or not? All right, sir. Now let's observe this clearly. This is, if we convert this total diagram into the Java, one more change is required. What change is required, sir? Now tell me. What change is required? Now tell me in the case of Java. Preprocessor is existed or not existed? Preprocessor is existed or not existed? Not existed. So here we have to remove this preprocessor part. We have to remove what now? Preprocessor part. That's it. Now this is the total diagram with respect to Java. Right? Shall we go for a few note kind of related points now? Can I go for some note about this particular process here? Now observe this clearly. What I have given information up to now, preprocessor is required in C and C++, but preprocessor is not required in Java. In C and C++, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of what? In the form of header files. Examples for these header files we have used. To use a predefined library in C and C++ applications, we have to include the header files into the present program by using #include statements. By using what? #include statement. Examples are given. Then after that, internal process here I have to specify, sir. What is that internal process here? Observe carefully. If we compile C and C++ programs, C++ applications, then preprocessor will perform the following actions. Tell me, guys, you have to answer for my questions now. What actions which are performed by preprocessor? Now tell me. What is that first action that is performed by preprocessor? Simple. Preprocessor will recognize all #include statements. All #include statements. Am I right or not? Second point is what? Preprocessor will take all the specified header files names. Then what next one here? Third one is what? Preprocessor will check whether these header files are existed or not existed in what? In a C predefined library. In C predefined library. Okay, now here two cases are existed, sir. What are the two cases, sir? Now tell me. Fourth point is what now? If these predefined, if these header files are not existed, if these header files are not existed, then what is the situation there? Then a preprocessor, tell me guys, preprocessor will raise an error or not? Will raise an error. That's okay. Then what is the fifth point here? Now tell me. If these header files are existed, then preprocessor will load all the header files content to the memory or not? All the header files content to the memory. Now tell me, what is the conclusion here? This type of loading predefined library at a compilation time is called as what? Compilation time is called as what now? Static loading. This type of predefined library to the memory. Loading this type of predefined library to the memory is called as what? Static loading. That's okay, fine. Now let's come for the conclusion, guys. What is the conclusion here? Now tell me. Right, what is the conclusion here? Right, in C and C++, preprocessor is required to recognize hash include statements, to recognize hash include statements in order to load header files, in order to load header files to the memory. Conclusion is very clear. Now this is a story about like what now? Preprocessor in the case of C and C++. But why it is not required in Java? Why preprocessor is not required in Java? I given some information clearly. What information here I given there? Now tell me, in Java, the complete predefined libraries existed in the form of packages. Examples for these packages are what? Java.io, Java.util, Java.sql. To use predefined library in Java applications, we have to include packages in Java file by using which statement, sir? Import statement. By using import statement. Examples are given. That's okay, fine. Then what next one here? For example, internal story here we have to understand. You have to understand these points clearly. Once again, I'm telling you clearly understand this. All right, so then what next one here? When we compile Java file, then compiler will perform the following actions. What actions are performed by compiler, guys? Now tell me what is the first one here? No, compiler will recognize all the import statements. Compiler will recognize all the import statements. Compiler will take all the specified package names, packages names. Then what next one? Third point is what? Now tell me. Compiler will check whether these packages are existed or not existed in Java software. In a Java software. Then what is the condition here? Now tell me. All right. What is the fourth point here? If these packages are not existed in Java software, what next one here? If these packages are not exist in Java software, then what next one? Then a compiler will raise an error or not? Then a compiler will raise an error. Okay, fine. For example, what is the fifth point here? If these packages are existed, if these packages are existed in Java software, then compiler will not raise any error. And at the same time, tell me guys what next one? At the same time, compiler will not load any package content to the memory. Am I right or not? Right, sir. Now here static loading is not happened. Why? Because with the statement we combined, we understood this point. Then what is the next point here? Now tell me. Right, when that predefined library will be loaded? Now tell me. Note kind of point here what I'm telling there. In Java applications, predefined library will be loaded by JVM at what time? At runtime. So this type of loading is called as what? Dynamic loading. Now coming to the conclusion, guys. What is this conclusion actually? Tell me, what is this conclusion here actually? Right, why preprocessor is not required in Java? That's the conclusion here. Now here the point is what? Preprocessor is not required in Java. Why? Because what is the reason for it? No. Why? Because in Java, hash include statements are not existed. In Java, hash include statements are not existed. Why hash include statements are not existed? Now tell me why. Because in Java, header files are not existed. Rather, which files are existed there now? Packages are existed. Okay, fine. This conclusion is sufficient here. Header files are not existed. That's enough. Okay, fine. So this is overall information here. We understood clearly. Now I want to ask one important interview question to all of you guys. Everybody has to respond for my question. As you understood this total concept, you have to understand my interview question. Ready for it? What is my interview question here? Listen carefully. For freshers, this is damn sure question in every interview. In every interview, this is mandatory question. So we have to remember here itself. You have to understand this interview question here itself. All right, sir. Then what is my question now? All of you observe carefully. What are the differences between hash include statement and import statement? What are the differences between hash include statement and import statement? Right, sir. Right. I think all of you are having awareness on this particular point, right? What are the differences between hash include statement and import statement? Am I right? I think mic is not working properly, right? So because of that problem. Okay, let me check it. Anyway, now try to understand it. Right, sir. Don't worry. Tomorrow I will change this mic. It will come properly. Now understand it. What is the first difference here? Now tell me, hash include statements are existed. Hash include statements are existed in which programming language, sir? Now tell me. In C and C++. Clear or not? Whereas import statements are existed in what? Import statements are existed in what? Java. Clear or not? Import statements are existed in what now? Java. Getting clarity or not? Okay, fine. Number two, what hash include statements are able to do and what import statements are able to do. Hash include statements are able to include the predefined library which is existed in the form of header files. Yes, sir, got it or not? Hash include statements are existed. Hash include statements are able to include the predefined library which are existed in the form of like what now? Header files. Observe carefully. Mic this ఈ పోల్కి పెట్టి ఇక్కడ పైన పెట్టి పడిపోయింది నా కింద చైర్లో పెట్టేసి అక్కడ ప్లగ్ ఉంది కదా ఆ ప్లగ్ చైర్లో పెట్టేసి పో. Right, sir. Just wait a minute of time. I'll go for some adjustment. Okay. Hello. Hello. Right, sir. All right. All right, sir. Then what is this second statement here? Hash include statements are exist in C and C++. Import statements are exist in Java. Then what is this second statement actually? Hash include statement is able to include the predefined library which is existed in the form of what? Header files. But import statements are able to include the predefined library which is available in the form of what? No, packages. Am I right or not? Now let me check this one clearly. Hash include statements are able to include the predefined library existed in the form of header files. Right. Similarly, what is the second statement here? We can observe this clearly. Import statements are able to include the predefined library existed in the form of packages. Right, sir. Now this is second statement here. We have to understand. Hash include statements are able to include the predefined library exists in the form of header files. Import statements are able to include the predefined library exists in the form of packages. Okay, fine. Third statement, we have to answer for my third point here. Tell me guys, all of you now tell me. Hash include statements are evaluated by or recognized by preprocessor or not? Hash include statements are evaluated by whom? Preprocessor. But import statements are evaluated by, that means compiler and JVM. Recognized by compiler. Compiler must recognize them to check whether packages are available or not. But loaded by what? No, JVM. So both compiler and JVM must require import statements. So here the point is what? So import statements are recognized by both compiler and JVM. But hash include statements are recognized by whom? Only preprocessor. Answer my point clearly. Hash include statements are recognized by preprocessor. That's okay, fine. Import statements are recognized by both compiler and JVM. In other words, I can specify Java compiler better. It would be like what now? Java compiler. Import statements are recognized by Java compiler and JVM. All right, sir. That's okay, fine. Coming to the loading part, static loading and dynamic loading. Which one is supporting static loading and which one is supporting dynamic loading? Now tell me guys. Hash include statements are supporting what? Static loading, but whereas import statements are supporting what? Dynamic loading. That we understood already clearly. Next one is, all of you observe carefully. One more point. Listen carefully. I want to include 5 header files in my C program. My requirement is what? 5 header files I want to include in my C program. So now tell me, how many hash include statements I have to write? I want to include 5 header files in my C program. How many hash include statements I have to write? In other words, what I am asking there, is it possible to include more than one header file by using single hash include statement? Is it possible to include more than one header file by using single hash include statement? What I am asking indirectly, hash include yesterday.h comma conio.h comma math.h. Is it possible? Is it possible? Single hash include statement is able to include only one header file or not? So that is a problem actually. That is a problem. That means if we want to include more than one header file, then we have to use multiple. Hash include statements. Multiple hash include statement. Example here I'm telling there clearly. Observe carefully. Now this is hash include yesterday.h, hash include conio.h, then hash include math.h. These things here we provided. If you want to include more than one header file, then we have to use multiple hash include statements. That's okay. Then what is the second point here? In the case of Java, listen carefully. In Java, what is package, sir? Package is what? Collection of classes and interfaces or not? Okay, more than one class and more than one interface is available in package or not? Single package contains multiple classes and multiple interfaces or not? Come on guys, now understand this point here. So here my requirement is, I want to use more than one class or more than one interface in my Java file. More than one class and more than one interface of the same package to the present Java file. So how many import statements are sufficient? One import statement is sufficient or not? Observe carefully. So in Java, if you want to include more than one class, or more than one interface of the same package. The condition is same package. More than one class or more than one interface of the same package, then it is sufficient. To use single import statement. Then it is sufficient to use a single import statement. Got my point or not? Single import statement. What is a single import statement now? Tell me. Import, for example, java.io.star. Import what? Java.io.star. What is this java.io.star? Actually, what is the meaning of the star now? Star represents all from the specified package. Am I right or not? Star represents all from the specified package. All the classes and interfaces from the specified package I want to get. This is the content here. For example, multiple classes I want to use in my Java file, but all these classes are not coming from single package. These classes are coming from different packages. So how many import statements I have to write? Multiple import statements or single import statement? Multiple. If all classes are coming from single package, no, single import statement. But multiple packages, multiple classes from multiple packages, no, then how many import statements here I have to write? Multiple import statements here I have to write or not? Sir, I'm telling to you, one package, one import statement. If you want to use classes from multiple packages, no, then definitely we have to use multiple import statements or not? Definitely we have to write what now? Multiple import statements. That's okay. That is the scenario. That is the second scenario here we have to understand. Right. Finally, I'm asking once again this question, guys. This is very Important interview question in the form of freshers. Everybody has to understand this question. Again, I'm asking this question to you. Everybody has to respond for me. What are the differences between hash include statement and import statement? Tell me what is the difference now? Hash include statements are existed in C and C++, but import statements are existed in Java. Then what hash include statement is able to do? It will include all the predefined library which is available in the form of header files. But import statements are able to include the predefined library which is existed in the form of packages. That's fine. Now tell me, who will recognize hash include statements now? Preprocessor. Who will recognize import statements now? Both the compiler and JVM. That's fine. Next one. Right. Who will perform static loading? Hash include statement. Who is supporting dynamic loading? Import statement. Right, sir. If you want to write more than one header file in our C program, how many hash include statements I have to write? Multiple hash include statements we required. But if you want to include more than one class or more than one interface of the single Java package, how many import statements can I have to write now? Single import statement I have to write. Now tell me clearly, in which programming language less number of instructions will come? In which programming language more number of instructions will come? In Java, less number of instructions are available, but in C and C++, more number of instructions are exist or not. So this is what exactly the differences between hash include statements and import statements. Sir, all of you are following these points now? No response, guys. Can I move forward? Next topic. Can I go for next topic? Yes. Still some question marks I am seeing in your faces now. Right. Don't worry. Then after 1 hour of time, this video will be available in YouTube. In YouTube, this video will be available within 1 hour. Or maybe those who registered already, you may get this video access, I think so. Try to check this video once. If you are getting any problems or any doubt, again see the total video, then we can confirm the concepts. Otherwise, if you took the material, already if you take the material, then in the material I given clearly that each and every statement. Even though you are missing any running notes inside the class, don't worry for that. In the material, everything is specified. Now try to check that material. There also be the total concept is existed. So multiple options are available for you to complete this content. Understand my point here? When I complete introduction part, total introduction part, I will conduct one exam on this particular topic. When I complete the total introduction part, up to Java naming conventions, if I completed, Java programming features I completed, there I will conduct one written test on all these concepts. You should appear for that and you have to write that exam. Yes, sir, got it or not? Definitely, I will evaluate that papers. There I will identify the first person who is getting more marks. Previously, might be at 8:30 batch, I conducted one exam there where 30 marks are given. Out of 30, one person got 30 out of 30. And 3 members got 29. On the same concepts I conducted. Of course, same paper I will not give. Different paper I will give for you. If I give same paper, you will copy that paper from the previous batch. What is the use of it? So definitely I will give different question paper with more twists. So in that exam, you have to appear for that exam and you have to identify your knowledge on this particular introduction part. Like this, when I complete one topic, definitely I will conduct exam on this topic. At the end of the story, nearly 30 to 35 exams you are able to have. 30 to 35 exams in the sense, nearly 30 into 30 questions. How many questions you are able to get there? 900 to 1000 number of questions you are able to get overall. At least if you prepare that questions, you will complete your company written test in any company, you will complete your interviews also. So what I am telling there, why I am telling all these things in our classes, no? Regular study is required. Today I completed these topics. When you go to your home or room, then what you have to do there? Just see one time the total running notes or material. Close that material or maybe running notes outside. Then take one white paper. Try to write the total content what I have given. Whatever the content here I have written there, try to recollect all the points. That's enough. If it is a programming related thing now, open your program and try to do practice on it until you are getting right outputs. This is only the topic, this is only the practice here, what I am telling there. Yes, sir, all of you are getting it or not? All right, sir. Now, anyway, leave this one. The next topic is also be Very, very important topic. Then what about this important topic here? Observe carefully. I think so thought difference. Am I right or not? Thought difference. What about the thought difference here? Listen carefully. C and C++ are platform dependent programming languages, but Java is a platform independent programming language. Right, sir. Then what is the difference here? Now tell me. C and C++ are platform dependent programming languages, but Java is what? Platform independent programming language. Yes, sir. This is also be very, very, very important. Here I am going to introduce JVM effectively. At the end of this particular difference, you will understand why JVM is required in Java. What is its role in Java applications? These points we are going to understand by the end of this particular difference. But we have to understand clearly. See how much concentration we put for the second difference, no? Double of the concentration we have to put for this particular concept. The most important topic in the differences between Java and others. Everybody has to put more concentration, then only you are able to understand it. These points are very, very important. Don't take it as light. In general, most of the people are used to take light about these introduction classes. But in my classes, introduction classes are more effective. Why? Because it will form the building. It will form some basics for you to understand the remaining concepts. Because of that reason, these fundamental classes are very, very, very important, especially this topic. Yes, sir. Shall we move on to this particular one? Right. Before understanding C, C++, Java, platform dependent or platform independent, before understanding this, first of all, I would like to know when a programming language is platform dependent programming language, when a programming language is platform independent programming language. Sir, please, once again, I'm telling to everybody, don't have discussions in between. Look at my face. Look at my face. I'm giving information to you. This is very, very important. While discussing this concept, if you're having discussion in between you, what is the use of coming for this class and what is the use of talking this subject? Don't behave like that. Just whenever you are sitting in front of me, you don't have any other work. You have to look at my face and you have to listen my concepts. That's it. Don't deviate. Listen, put more concentration here. So before understanding the C, C++, Java, whether they are platform dependent or platform independent, before that, I want to know when a programming language is platform dependent programming language and when a programming language is a platform independent programming language. Okay, listen, I'm giving one simple definition. Try to understand it clearly. If any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation and execution on the same operating system, not on two different operating systems, then that programming language is called as platform dependent programming language. Digest. What is the definition I said to you? If any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation and execution both on the same operating system, not on different operating systems, then that programming language is called as what? Platform dependent programming language. For compilation, I have used Windows operating system. So we must use the same Windows operating system for execution. For compilation and execution, both, we must use same operating system. Not possible to use two different operating systems. Then that programming language is what? Platform dependent programming language. Got my point or not? C and C++ are platform dependent programming languages. We confirmed it. Why C and C++ are platform dependent? We will explain. I will explain to you clearly. Okay, fine. Leave this one. Next one. All of you observe carefully. If any programming language allows its applications to perform, compilation is on one operating system, execution is on another operating system. If any programming language allows its applications to perform, compilation is on one operating system and execution is on another operating system, then that programming language is called as what? Platform independent programming language. What is that? No, platform independent programming language. Example for platform independent programming language is Java, Python, .NET, and so on. Python is also be platform independent. Java is also be platform independent. Right, sir. Now here the discussion is definitions are okay, clear. C and C++ are platform dependent. Why? Because for compilation and execution, we must provide the same operating system. Java is a platform independent. Why? Because we can perform compilations on one operating system. We can execute the same Java program on multiple operating systems, different operating systems. So Java is platform independent. That's okay. Definitions are okay. But here my point is how C and C++ are platform dependent, how Java is platform independent. What exactly the internal concepts? How C and C++ are becoming as platform dependent, how Java is becoming as platform independent. What is there inside this C and C++ and inside Java? To conclude, C and C++ are platform dependent, and to conclude, Java is a platform independent. What is going on internally? That points here we have to understand. Am I right or not? That we will understand on tomorrow. Yes, sir. Time is not sufficient there. I need minimum 45 minutes of time to explain this total content. Why? Because somewhat internals I have to discuss there. So time may not be sufficient. Don't worry. And tomorrow we will discuss about this total content. Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks a lot. We'll meet on tomorrow. And guys, and those who want to talk with me, just we can send message to me. Then I'm able to watch your messages. I'm able to give reply immediately. Sudhakar, all people are sending messages through questions box. Then where you send this message there, just you can type your question. Regularly, I'm able to see your message and I'm able to give answers for these questions. Okay, not required to unmute. Why? Because if I unmute, all members are able to give disturbance, right? Thank you. Thanks a lot. Hmm? I will share it definitely. I have written all the notes, right? What you are expecting notes only, right? Yeah, I will send these notes. Don't worry. Already I typed that everything. You open? Uh, uh, do you have any? No. Why? You won't take notes. I will share these notes, sir. Don't worry. Soft copy I will share. Classroom notes I will share soft copy. Don't worry. Okay. Yeah, I will share. Just 1 or 2 days ago, I will send it. I will create a channel. Through the channel, I will share to everybody. You can directly download my notes. Okay. Don't worry. Just wait 1 or 2 days of time. ప్రజెంట్ మార్కెట్లో మేము మ్యాక్సిమం ఆ కోర్స్ ఎవరు చెప్పట్లేదు కూడా. సో నేను మ్యాక్సిమం ఇక్కడ మీకు 80 to 85% మొత్తం సర్టిఫికేషన్ ఓరియంటేషన్ అయిపోయింది నాది. ఇది యాక్చువల్గా నేను క్లాస్లో చెప్పేది మీకు మ్యాక్సిమం 80 to 85% సర్టిఫికేషన్ ఓరియంటేషన్. ఈ క్వశ్చన్స్ కానీ కంటెంట్ అంతా కూడా మ్యాక్సిమం సర్టిఫికేషన్ లెవెల్. సో మీరు ఇది కనుక ఫాలో అయ్యి రాస్తే మీకు 80 to 85% గ్యారంటీ. బట్ నాట్ సఫిషియంట్. 95-100% యూ రిక్వైర్డ్. సో దెన్ అట్ ప్రజెంట్ certification course are not, but after joining with the company you can plan for it, not now. But every, see, in Pragmatic centers are giving certificates with the fake. They are writing exams in place of you, then they are able to provide it, but it is not recommended. That's why I'm not suggesting to you, but better to prepare yourself. Okay, then better what I'm telling there in YouTube, Durga soft videos are available for certification. Try to check once. Better. యూట్యూబ్లో ఉండొచ్చు. ప్లస్ మోర్ ఓవర్ ఇక్కడ రీసెర్చ్ స్టూడెంట్స్కి గూగుల్ డ్రైవ్ యాక్సెస్ ఇస్తున్నాం. సో త్రూ దట్ యూ కెన్ గెట్ ఇట్. దుర్గా సాఫ్ట్. ఎవరైనా ఏం చెప్తారు? If we come for the order of the courses, what I'm able to do, the schedule will be, I will give clearly, understand it, no? So every day, see, these classes I'm conducting at 10 o'clock. Maybe after a few days of time, I will take the same sessions at 8:30. So Core Java is going on at 8:30 to 10 o'clock every day, AM. Okay, this is going on. Next up, this course is confirmed 8:30 to 10 o'clock, the total part, Core Java. Then after that, what I will do there, before this Core Java, 7 to 8:30, after 40 days of time, 7 to 8:30 AM, I'll go for advanced Java. Then here, what I'm telling there, first I will start Core Java at 8:30 to 10 o'clock. This is Core Java. It's going on. After 40 days of time, I'll start advanced Java. At what time there? 7 to 8:30 morning. So you have to come for these two courses parallelly, but not immediately. After 40 days of time, I'll start advanced Java. Meanwhile, Core Java is going to be completed. At the same time, advanced Java will start and it is also be going on. Both we have to do. When I complete Core Java or advanced Java at one slot, no, then immediately I will start Hibernate. For example, if I complete Core Java a bit earlier, there I will start Hibernate. Next, if I complete advanced Java at 7 to 8:30, there I will start Spring Framework. If I complete advanced Java, if I complete Hibernate at 8:30 to 10, there I will start what web services. Then another slot is what Spring Boot or microservice, something else. These two slots were totally for Java. Core Java, Advanced Java, Hibernate, Spring Web Services, and all. 7 to 8:30 and 8:30 10. These two slots for this Java stream totally. No. Actually, Node.js is not required for Java full stack developer. If you go for UI full stack developer, their Node.js is a middleware, backend. But here servlets and JS, Java is available. No? In place of Node.js, we are learning Java as a backend. So not required. Node.js is not required for Java developer. Okay. See, that Node.js server may be used for multiple purposes. It may be for UI or it may be some other reasons also. Maybe that reason might be different context. Check once. Okay, this is one thing. And apart from this, these remaining courses like Aragil, like UI technologies, Angular, React, or Linux DevOps tools, testing tools might be taken by other trainers. First priority for other trainers. Okay, then but I will monitor these courses also. I will monitor, but other trainers will take the classes. Okay, when they are able to take, no, in offline classes, maximum I'm planning for these courses at 10 to 11:30 one slot and 11:30 to one another slot for full stack remaining courses. But for online students, I'm planning at different timings. Different timings in the sense, not exactly at the 10 to 11:30, 11:31. Maybe morning 6 to night 11 o'clock. Batches are going to be start. Other courses like Aragil or Angular or testing or maybe DevOps, the courses are going on parallelly, continuously. Morning 6 o'clock to night 11 o'clock. At any time, as per your comfortable time, you can attend for it. That is the scenario. That is for online students. But offline students, 10 to 11:30 is for 10 to 11:30 and 11:30 to 1 is for other courses other than this Java. Immediately, what I'm planning there, maybe in the next month, the second week, next month, August, the second week, I'm planning for offline students is Aragil at 10 to 11:30, 11:30 to 1 is what their UI technologies. Parallel, we are, that means at a time in the next month, if we come there nearly 3 batches parallelly, maybe after 15 to 20 days of time after starting these, no, 4 batches we have to attend parallelly. That means morning 7 to 1 o'clock only classes. Then afterwards, evening time, totally you have to go for your own practice. For offline students, that is the schedule. But for online students, given that schedule already, Java and advanced Java. That means Java stream is going in at 2 slots, 7 to 8:30 and 8:30 to 10. Then remaining courses are going to be taught at any time throughout the day. As per the comfort, then you can attend for these classes. Yeah, see, one type, it's one of the research area at present. Totally, we cannot say it's a software. It is it's an idea that we have to implement in any programming language. Artificial intelligence might be exist in different forms. Of course, you can use Java to implement that artificial intelligence kind of things. Of course, the same artificial intelligence is available in data science also. So, utilization of that artificial intelligence is a context. In a data analysis, what we can use, in application development also, as per the requirement, we can use. Mainly, if you go for robotics or some kind of things, there we are able to use what? Artificial intelligence. But if you want to go for artificial intelligence, first you should know net to neural networks, somewhat related. Then after that, you may go for AI. That usage context is different. Different context, we are able to use that artificial intelligence. Yeah, you see, the programming language is different. The theory part is different. Yeah, definitely. Java is a programming language. You can implement anything. Exactly, exactly. Right. బాలేదా? Throughout up to the end of the course. If it is possible, I will collapse these walls also. Seriously, I'm telling you, why? Because then if people are coming more, then what I have to do? I have to extend this classroom. That I'm planning for that actually. That's why I'm telling you. The class is going on here only. చెప్పండి మీకు ఏదైనా ఇష్యూ ఉంటే నేను దాన్ని రిజాల్వ్ చేయగలుగుతాను క్లాస్ రూమ్ ఓకే అది అర్థమైంది నాకు ఓకే ఈరోజు క్లాస్ బాగానే ఉంది కదా రైట్ అదైతే ఓకే పర్లేదు ఇంకా మీకు ఏదైనా ఇబ్బంది ఉంటే ఫీల్ ఫ్రీ అండ్ యూ కెన్ టాక్ టు మీ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ మైక్ నాకే నచ్చలే ఈరోజు కింద పడిపోయినప్పుడు నుంచి నాకే నచ్చలేదు దాన్ని ఇమీడియట్ మార్చేస్తాను ఇట్లాంటి ఇష్యూస్ ఏమైనా ఉంటే నాకు ఫ్యాన్స్ లేకపోతే ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ ఇష్యూ ఉంటే నాతో చెప్పండి చెప్తే విల్ గో ఫర్ ఇట్ అందుకని నేను అడుగుతున్నా మిమ్మల్ని 2 to 3 టైమ్స్ అనేది నాకు వచ్చినది అంతేం లేదు ఫీల్ ఫ్రీ అయితే ఎంత హ్యాపీగా ఉంటే నో ఇష్యూస్ దానిలో ఏ చిన్న ఇబ్బంది ఉంటే నాకు చెప్పొచ్చు ఓకే సార్ ఏం లేదు సార్ మీరు కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అవ్వద్దు దానిలో ఏం లేదు నేను అడుగుతుంది ఏంటంటే కంఫర్టే కదా అని అడుగుతున్నాను బాగానే ఉంది కదా అది మీరు స్ట్రాంగ్గా చెప్పట్లేదు నాకు ఈ పాయింట్స్ నాకు కావాలి మైక్ లేదన్నా ఐ విల్ చెక్ ఇట్ నేను యాక్చువల్గా అది మైక్ చేంజ్ ప్రాసెస్లో ఉన్నాను ఈరోజు అన్ఫార్చునేట్ పడిపోయింది అది కింద పడిపోయింది ఆ పని పడినప్పటి నుంచి అసలు పని చేయట్లేదు సక్రమంగా పని చేయలేదు అంత అప్ అండ్ డౌన్స్ వస్తూ ఉంది సో మీకు క్లారిఫై అవుతుంది ఇబ్బంది నెక్స్ట్ క్లాస్ మ్యాక్సిమం మంచిదే తీసుకుందామని ఉన్నాను మీరు అది చెప్పాలి ముందే చెప్తే కదా నాకు అర్థమైంది రైట్ ఎనీథింగ్ ఎల్స్ థ్యాంక్ యూ చేయండి ఆగస్ట్ సెకండ్ వీక్లో స్టార్ట్ అవుతాయి ఇవి ఎందుకంటే మనకి అప్పటి వరకు ఈ అడ్మిషన్స్ అంతా కూడా బ్యాచ్ సెటప్ అయిపోద్ది అప్పటి నుంచి మీకు అంటే ఆగస్ట్ ఫస్ట్ వీక్ రేపు ఆగస్ట్ 5th క్లియర్ అయిపోద్ది కాకపోతే సెకండ్ వీక్ నేను గ్రేస్ టైం పెట్టేసుకొని స్టార్ట్ చేపిస్తాను క్లాసెస్ మీకు అప్పటి నుంచి చాలా సీరియస్గా నడుస్తాయి ఇవన్నీ బ్యాచెస్ అప్పటికి మీకు కోర్ జాబ్కి వెళ్ళిపోయి ఉంటాం మనం ఊప్స్ కూడా స్టార్ట్ చేసేసి ఉంటాం మెయిన్ కాంటెంట్ నడుస్తూ ఉంటుంది ఇంకా ఆ ఒక్క క్లాస్ అప్పటి వరకు సెకండ్ వీక్ ఒక క్లాస్ తర్వాత 3 క్లాసెస్ వచ్చేసి రిమైనింగ్ స్టార్ట్ అయింది 3 క్లాస్ నడుస్తుంది ఇంకా కొన్ని రోజులైన తర్వాత అడ్వాన్స్ కూడా నడుస్తుంది స్టార్ట్ అయిపోతుంది ఫుల్ స్టాక్లో బెటర్ అవునా బెటర్ కొంచెం ముందు కూర్చోండి రేపు ఒకసారి ముందు కూర్చొని చూడండి మీరు ఇబ్బంది ఏమి ఉండదు అంటే ఒకటి చెప్తాను చూడండి 100% ఏది ఉండదు ఒక 70% అయితే మనం వెళ్ళిపోవచ్చు మనకంటే నడుస్తుందా లేదా ఇప్పుడు ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ వాయిస్ అన్నారు కదా ఇబ్బందిగా ఉందనుకోండి అంటే అసలు అర్థం కావట్లేదు ఇంకా లేదు అనిపించింది అనుకోండి డెఫినెట్లీ ఐ మస్ట్ టేక్ ది రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీ అర్థం అవుతుంది పర్లేదు నడుస్తుంది కొంచెం క్లారిటీ కావాలని కూడా మనం చేయొచ్చు ఒక 70 to 75% నడుస్తుంది ఇంకా కావాలంటే మాత్రం నేను నా కాంపోనెంట్ చెక్కాలి బయట నేను ఎతికి తీసుకొచ్చేదాన్ని అప్పటికి ఎందుకంటే వైర్లెస్ కావాలి నాకు వైర్తో నడవదు లేదంటే పెద్ద పెద్ద సెటప్స్ కావాలి మైక్లు కావాలి హమ్మింగ్ వస్తుంది ఐ మీన్ ఇది వస్తుంది అందుకని చెప్పేసి ఇంకా నేను R&Dలో ఉన్న దాని గురించి దీనికన్నా బెటర్ సొల్యూషన్ డెఫినెట్ తీసుకొస్తాను కానీ మాక్సిమం అంటే 75% 80% ఓకే నడుస్తుంది ఇంకొక 20% నాకు ఉంది ఐడియా ఉంది దాన్ని ఇంకా నేను చేంజ్ చేయాలని చెక్ చేస్తున్నాను మేబీ 1 or 2 డేస్లో నేను ఏదో సొల్యూషన్ పట్టుకొస్తాను మీకు ఇబ్బంది ఏం లేదు ఇంకా నేనేం చెప్తానంటే మీకు కొంచెం ముందు కూర్చోండి మీకు మైక్ క్లారిటీ వస్తుంది ప్లస్ ఇది కూడా కొంత క్లియరెన్స్ ఉంటుంది ఇబ్బంది ఉండదు కొంచెం ముందు కూర్చోండి లేదా సొల్యూషన్ చూద్దాం కొత్త ఏ రీప్లేస్మెంట్ కొత్తదే దానిలో డౌట్ లేదు దాని ఇంకా ల్యాంప్ వచ్చి అవర్స్ ఉన్నాయి ఇంకా మనకి అది కంప్లీట్ చేయకుండా పంపించామనుకోండి వేస్ట్ అప్ కదా అది కూడా అందుకని మేబీ తీసుకుందాం తర్వాత తీసుకుందాం ఇబ్బంది ఏం లేదు Aracle. Aracle. Then Aracle is SQL. SQL in the sense Aracle only. SQL and PLSQL both are going in Aracle. No, not related. Yeah, directly we can start. Core. Not required, not required. Just wait up to few days of time. I'll arrange separate batch for this, for you. That means for all these batch people, I will arrange separate. 10 to 11:30 is the timing for Oracle. Okay, 11:30 to 1 is the timing for UI technologies. Separate courses. So see, that depends on the package what you have taken. For example, if you take only core Java, this is only core Java, this duration. If you take batch to basic Java package, where we have to cover these many courses. So all they are going to be started by second week of August. So now we are taking core Java. UI Technos and Oracle will start maybe on the second week of the August. Separate batches for this batch. And advanced Java will talk maybe after some few days of time. If you take the same complete Java package, same scenario is going on, but when Java stream is going in at core at 7 to 8:30 and 8:30 to 10 timings. So the total core Java, advanced Java, Hibernate, Spring Boot, microservice, web services, up to that I will take. Okay, that 7 to 8:30 and 8:30 to 10. These two slots I will assign for this Java. Remaining time 10 to 11:30 and 11:30 to 1, both I will take for these two, these remaining courses. This is one thing. If you take this one, same scenario is going on, but all the remaining courses are going to be completed at what time there? 10 to 11:30 and 11:31. Yeah, that's okay. But here, see, here only 5 members are available. The batch admissions are not completed. If I allow you to some other course, then you can go for it. And then as per your requirement, other batches are going on here. But you may not follow my schedule. If you're not following my schedule, you have to check for the remaining courses in our own way. At same Durga's option. Two options I'm telling you. One is if you follow my schedule, I'll set up the schedule totally. If you are not following my schedule, then you have to check for your own schedule to complete the total course at Durga's house. Then neither of the thing you have to do. Both are okay, no issues. But for the Java people, for those who want to take these packages, no, I want to give a roadmap clearly. If you follow that roadmap, then within less time you will complete it. Otherwise, immediately want to go for, see, for example, your technology is going in at evening time. If you want to go on Jan with that, you can go on Jan with that. Don't have any problem there. And at present might be Oracle class is also going to be start. Maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, the demo class are going. If you want to go for that, then you can go for it. That's okay. But what I'm telling there, if we go for your own schedule, after a few days of time, then what will happen? You may not come for my schedule. Why? Because if you're not coming to my schedule in the sense like whatever the roadmap I'm going to give for all the remaining courses, that you may not follow. If it is a case, you have to check for your own schedule. You have to complete all the remaining courses in your own way, in the same Durga's option. Number of batches are going to be start morning to evening. Which batch is comfortable, then we can join with that. That's okay, no issues. But depends on your requirement, either of these things we can follow. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Good. He worked already. See, at present, he will. At present, is the situation is like what now? Already had some plenty of experience on multiple technologies. But my suggestion is what at present in outside market, two things are getting more demand. One is data analysis side, data science. Data science is a permanent solution, but it may take long time to complete the data science. That's a problem. And second thing is DevOps is going on very well. DevOps will be completed within 40 days of time or 2 months of time max. Or else for every course there is a solution. If you want to complete in short, videos are available in outside. Number of platforms are providing that video support. Then if we take any video support from any platform there, as far as comfort, he may prepare every day, maybe 5 hours or 10 hours of time. He prepared now. Then he will go for what updated in a fast manner. He will join with the respective thing, maybe in a fast manner. Sure, AWS is better. See, three things in cloud platforms: AWS, Azure, and next one GCP, Google Cloud Platform. Out of these three, first priority is for AWS, next Azure, next GCP. Demanding point of view. And DevOps with AWS is getting more demand nowadays in outside. AWS, AWS DevOps. AWS DevOps is there and Azure DevOps is available. Two things are existed. So better to go for AWS DevOps. Yeah, then it will be completed in max actual durations at Amirpet for DevOps is 2.5 to 3 months of time. But if we take video support from any institute, he will complete that videos might be a quick manner. Then he will go for that. He will complete his preparation in a fast manner. Yeah, 45 days or whatever. 24/7 that not required. The video support is available. Right? I'm not talking about. Yeah, but if he want, yeah, if he wants to come here, and he has to spend nearly 3 months of time to complete that. Not possible. Not possible. Why? Because here everything is a spoon feeding, right? Ha 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 ha. Online classes better. That Durga Soft also online class are going up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. At Durga Soft also online class are available. Let him to attend for demo classes at least. DevOps class are going to be started on every week. Every week new batches are going to be started. Let him to check that demo class at our website there. If demo class are available, let him to join for that. Ask him to join for the demo classes, then he will understand clearly. At least he can talk with the DevOps trainer also. See, the point is what I'm telling you. DevOps is a course actually. The title is DevOps, where three things are going to be covered: Linux basic part, next cloud AWS, next some tools which are related to DevOps tools. Nearly 6 or 7 or 8 number of tools are available in real time. Jenkins maybe, Kubernetes maybe, like this. These tools are existed. This overall bundle is a DevOps course where automatically AWS will be covered. In AWS is available in two modes. One is what programming mode, another one is admin mode. Admin mode is not required for Java developers or maybe for in general those who want to go for AWS. Only programming mode is sufficient. Databases, yeah, even though useful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Material, the total hard copy, maybe it's available or not. I have to check once. Just go to the office and check once. No, if it's available, we can collect it. Otherwise, maybe tomorrow or day afternoon we'll get it. Hard copy. No problem. Then I will share this document also. But within 1 or 2 days after, I'll share this document. You can get it. Thank you. Thank you. Guys, anything else? Looking for guidewire technologies. Is there any course for the technology in Durga Soft? Having no funny, and that technology is not available at Durga Soft. I think so. Yeah, Dilip, and try to join with the complete Java. Don't worry. Okay. Yeah, no problem. Dilip Kumar, no problem, sir. Advanced Java Spring Framework batches are, yeah, due to your, yeah, yes, exactly. You can attend for this. You can attend for this. I'll allow Dilip Kumar. Don't worry. You can attend. Yes, Sadanand, then every class is being recorded and you will get the recordings. Don't worry. Angular is a framework, not AngularJS. Angular or AngularJS, whatever it may be, it is a framework for JavaScript. Okay, for UI. Yeah, Dilip, you can join with Advanced Java. Don't worry. Nitish, and recordings are available. Just one time reach out to our office there, or people will give Google Drive access. Okay. Should we come for offline class or online classes? Then both are going on, sir. Nitish, Patak, both are going on. As your interest, if you want to come offline, you can come. Or if you want to come at online, you can come. Both the classes are going on. Okay. Right, guys. Anything else? Guys, anything else? Shall we meet on tomorrow? Sadanand, if you are trying to attend the classes in online, then you will get all the classes recordings, I'm sure. RIGL and as well as UI also. If you're attending in online, for online students, and every class is going to be get a recording video. Every class will be recorded, and every recording video will be provided. RIGL or maybe UI or whatever it may be. Yeah, thank you. Anything else, guys? Right?